Welcome to Airplay Escape. Please consider subscribing to my Patreon account for the full audiobook. Thank you for your support. Naruto, Choose from Birth, Episode 41. When I arrived at the small ranch of Uehara Kensho, the sun in the sky had gradually tilted to the west. Several simple wooden houses sit on a hillside covered with grass. Hundreds of cows are grazing on the hillside, and about 10 cows are leisurely plucking the grass. An old man and 2 apparently hired staff members were stroking milk. Maruyama's round body was the first to squeeze open the fence door and shouted at the old man on the hillside, "Uncle Kensho, we have come to see you." "Who?" Kensho Uehara put down the work in his hand, carried the barrel full of milk, slowly stood up, and squinted at the incoming person. Seeing the round body with obvious characteristics, he suddenly said, "It turned out to be Xiaoxiangtai, come in quickly, which wind actually blew you out the door? Haha, according to my size, it is estimated that a powerful tornado is required." "That really needs a tornado. It's rare that you, who haven't gone out for a long time, remember that I like Kyoki tea." "The little girl is also coming?" "Yes, is the old man in good health?" "My brother knows there's a ranch here that has been going to see the cows, isn't it?" "Bring him with you." Uchiha Suzune smiled and took the barrel in Kensho Uehara's hand and helped him carry it. Okay, I have more time to accompany my old man, and when I see you full of vitality, I always feel a few years younger." Kensho Uehara responded cheerfully. The voice leaked through a few of his teeth. "Grandpa, let me help you milk the cows." Uchiha Makoto saw the 2 staff members milking the cows, and he looked eager to try. "Brother, don't add to the chaos. Dare to move, I won't bring you here in the future. Out of the way, out of the way. Cows are docile and do not hurt people easily. How about I bring you some fresh milk?" "No need, old man, we drank a lot from Uncle Seong's place just now." Afterwards, Uchiha Suzune went to milk with Shota. Makoto Uchiha ran around, occasionally chatting with the elderly. The old man was idle, and after a while he went to work together again. As evening approached, Kensho Uehara drove the cattle into the pen, step by step. Although the body is still very stable, the steps are indeed a little faltering. There seems to be some kind of special rhythm in the deep and shallow footsteps, seemingly slow, but always just right to block the bend point of the herd. A shout caused the herd to enter the stall in a stable and orderly manner. The wrinkled skin on the old man's face was stacked together like the bark of a dying tree. Speckled age spots accentuate the dying dead air. However, the movements are very coordinated, and the spacing of each step is not bad in the footsteps that appear to be faltering due to joint pain. The body did not have the slightest trembling caused by the uncoordinated legs and feet of other old people. It's like forcing yourself to form a faltering habit. And not because of pain, the instinct of the body is displayed. This scene clearly fell 10 meters away, and in the eyes of Makoto Uchiha, who was looking for clams in the grass, 2 Goyu in his red eyes were slowly rotating. In the distance is another brilliant residual sun, breaking through the surrounding clouds, leaving a circle of golden red brilliance in the world. The dyed red sunset is like the most beautiful refining in the world, trying its best to absorb the last Tao afterglow of the red sun. This reminded Makoto Uchiha of a long time ago, a year ago. It really felt like a long time, like in a hazy dream. It was also such a picturesque evening. That time, the beautiful red hair of the immature girl reflected the sunset. That time, Makoto Uchiha killed for the first time, and the first time he killed a famous kamishinobu. The old man drove the cattle into the pen in order to treat a few visitors. Then he slowly went to the wooden room to make toast and hot milk. Slowly and methodically raise the firewood, then carefully divide the milk into the jars. The expression is serious and the movements are skillful. "Grandpa, have you always lived alone?" Makoto Uchiha took a few white loaves of bread and placed them on the oven. "Yes, for decades, I have long been accustomed to living alone, with so many herding cattle accompanying me, and I don't feel lonely." "So your foot, was it injured before?" "Walking with a limp, yes, I got cold when I was young. I've got gout since I got old." "Oh. I thought you were like me because of fun, learning others to walk, whether it is uphill or flat, the pace is average." The old man's focused eyes were slightly stunned, and then he touched his legs and feet expressionlessly. "Yes, when people are old, many things are forgotten. I forgot that my legs and feet did hurt for a long time, and I forgot that I didn't know when my legs and feet would be fine. But I still retain my previous habits, just to not let myself forget gratitude, forget my mission, and forget who gave me such a good life. This place in Konoha is so comfortable." Smoke rises from the houses on the hillside, giving the place a little more poetic. A shout that the meal was open made Ling Yin and the others stop their work and walk into the room together, tasting the most serious dinner the old man had ever made. Then Makoto Uchiha, Suzune, and Shota followed the ranch staff to take advantage of the last rays of the sunset and quickly left with the ranch's carriage. "Grandpa, it's fun here, we'll come back tomorrow." From a distance came Makoto Uchiha's crisp voice. Half an hour later. A ghostly voice sped into the illuminated cabins on the hillside. The old man, Kensho Uehara, quietly looked at the burning fireplace. Just knew you would come back. He. See something? The voice of the person who came was like a dancing wind chime, sweet and pleasant. Perhaps, he said I had a problem with my pace. For the rest, he didn't ask anything except for everyday life, and I didn't say anything. You should be glad that it wasn't the Yamanaka people who came this afternoon, but even they didn't want to get some secrets from me. Well, you actually came at this time, don't be embarrassed. If you can, just bury me on this hillside, I've loved this place for decades. Kensho Uehara said calmly, with a faint smile on his face. People who don't know still think that he is saying something that has nothing to do with him. Good. In the pleasant response, the baby's fat pure face was covered with a trace of coldness, and a strand of long hair floated with the wind. Episode 42, Clang. Kensho Uehara tried to end his life, but was blocked by a shiny ninja knife as he approached his throat. Vice Captain. Didn't you go back? The attacker, Uchiha Suzune, said in surprise. I'm also a little surprised, didn't you also follow the carriage back? My squad leader, through the transformation technique, Uchiha Makoto, who had been hiding in the room, smiled faintly. How? Want to kill people? You can't bear it yourself. In fact, I don't have a better way to let Kensho Uehara tell the whereabouts of the high-level spy. After all, he has already looked down on life and death, and you don't want to trust your subordinates. It was actually put by you. Should I say that I am worthy of being a vice captain? If you are so confident, let's solve it together. Only the dead who have been reduced to ashes are the safest. Fire, the art of the magnificent fireball. While speaking, Uchiha Suzune, who quickly jumped out of the house, directly hit a huge fireball. Water escape, water array wall. Another voice sounded in the room. Rumble. The big fireball slammed into the water wall, inspiring a large area of water vapor. After the eye-catching soot, Makoto Uchiha and his escort, Yudo Uchiha, walked out of the intact room. I never said I had to deal with you alone. Well, tell me who you really are. You can't be Uchiha Suzune. Why? Uchiha Suzune asked, puzzled. Because I'm real. According to the agreement, when the shadow doppelganger of the vice captain on the carriage is lifted, it is when I turn around and come back. At some point, the carriage that should have left long ago had returned to the gate of the ranch, and the real Uchiha Suzune who got down from the car surrounded the fake Suzune in a zigzag shape along with Makoto and Yudo. When was this bureau set up? The voice of a slightly old man came out of the mouth of the fake bell, and seeing this, he also completely dismantled the transformation technique, ready to go all out against the three Uchiha. This person is the captain of the 1st District Squad, Uchiha Dappu. The elder of the Konoha garrison, the oldest serving officer. When I realized that Kensho Uehara was a spy. The Uchiha family treats you well, why did you betray Uchiha and spy for others? Makoto Uchiha frowned, although he had already guessed, but when he was really his own person, his psychology was still a little uncomfortable. There is no betrayal without betrayal, strictly speaking, you are the betrayer in front of the object of my allegiance. And? Do you really think you will win? Uchiha Dappu's word exit. Makoto Uchiha suddenly felt a powerful momentum sweeping over. I only felt that the other party suddenly became extremely tall. No. It's really getting bigger. The body actually rose to the ground, the clothes quickly cracked, the burly body continued to grow to dozens of stories high, the thick beast hair all over the body came out, and the hideous blood basin roared towards Uchiha Makoto at a height of tens of meters. In an instant, like a Category 12 hurricane, the turf of the hillside was raised and swept over. This is one in particular, gorilla. No. Donkey Kong. How can it be? Not good, it's an illusion. A hand gently rested on Makoto Uchiha's shoulder. Calmed the surging chakra inside him. Be careful. Dappu's predecessor's illusion is very strong. Uchiha Yudo withdrew his hand, and Sangoya's blood chakra eyes spun rapidly in his eyes. Then he pulled out Kumu and quickly supported Suzune, who was wrestling with Dappu. At this time, 2 wounds had appeared on her body. Uchiha Makoto's old face turned red, and he unconsciously read his way. The experience is still not enough, these guys, before the start of the fight, have already gone all out, and the eyes of the 3-hook jade riding wheel are fully opened. Recently, it has been too smooth, which makes Makoto Uchiha relax his guard a little. As a result, something almost went wrong. Sure enough, in this ninja world where high attacks and low defenses are common, there is a danger of capsizing in the gutter at any time. Urga jade riding wheel eyes open. Multiple shadow doppelganger. The second door of the 8 doors of Dunjia is open. Plover. Makoto Uchiha is full of firepower. 3 shadow doppelgangers plus a body instantly pounced. At this time, Dappu uses a ninja knife that glows with bursts of chakra light. The sword light carried a variety of brilliant lights and shadows, and easily blocked the attacks of Yuto and Suzune. Dapu's illusion has been integrated into his swordsmanship. Yuto and Suzune must always keep an eye on their enemies and partners, and help them when they are stunned by the illusion. And Dapu's speed is very fast, and the two can't do it if they want to open the distance and perform ninjutsu. On weekdays, his performance is approachable, ordinary, and he is a small captain of the 1st District who survived by his age. It turned out to be so strong, so deeply hidden. An electric light flashed, and a figure with the thunder light of 1,000 birds singing fiercely passed through Dapu's body. It's a pity that it was an afterimage cut. Dapu, who was quickly dodging, dragged a long afterimage behind him, and the blade with a strong light and shadow in his hand was extremely dazzling under the moonlight. This is the time. Fire, the art of the magnificent fireball. Fire, the art of phoenix fire. Fire, fire dragon bomb. The 3 shadow doppelgangers who have been preparing for a long time take the opportunity to use all-round fire to suppress it. Rumble. A huge wave of fire swept through, covering a radius of 50 meters. Even if you use avatar or substitute now, it will turn into a roast pig. Suddenly, a pair of big hands broke through the ground and fiercely dragged Ling Ying into the ground. Tuduan, the art of decapitation in the heart. Episode 43, the fire wave in front of him rolled, and the bell on this side had been restricted from moving, leaving only one head exposed to the ground, and his whole body could not move. Where will the real battle wait until you have cleared the smoke and returned to calm? Tuduan, the art of earth movement. Uchiha Yudo put his hands on the ground and hurriedly cast a simple earth escape. Just to force out Uchiha Dapu, in case Suzune is directly killed. Of course, if you can't die, then go and die together to see if you can withstand the squeeze of the whole earth. Bang! There was a gentle tremor throughout the hillside, and then the shaking grew larger and larger as more and more chakra was output. Click! Small cracks tore through the grass and gradually spread in all directions. Boom! A figure broke through the ground, and the figure rushed towards Yudo with a Taoist psychedelic afterimage. Boom! Makoto Uchiha brandished the broken snow to block Dapu's path, and in an instant the 2 ninja knives collided fiercely. There is a shrill sound of gold and iron. The 2 extremely sharp cold rays seemed to twist the surrounding moonlight, and the 2 exchanged dozens of blows in an instant, and the reflection was as continuous as a stream of water. The attacks generated by Dao Dao relying on dynamic vision were easily defused by the other party, and in front of the opponent's more powerful 3-hook Jade Blood Chakra eye, in less than 3 seconds, Makoto Uchiha added 3 wounds to his body. The eyes were gradually affected by the other party's fusion illusion sword technique, the brilliant light and shadow, and the speed and consciousness gradually slowed down. The second one. Suddenly, Dapu said softly, with infinite killing intent in his words. True 3 days and moon dance. Dapu instantly divided into 3 figures who slashed from all directions. Almost instinctively feeling the crisis of death, Makoto Uchiha quickly made a one-handed seal with his left hand. Break the snow with the famous knife in your right hand, do not retreat, but advance. Ding ding poof. Left, center, right, 3 sword rays struck at the same time, 2 were held by Makoto Uchiha, and the third pierced into the shoulder. These attacks are different from the ordinary 3 sun and moon dance's tricks, and they are all real. Burst. The fourth attack like a shadow without warning passed through Makoto Uchiha's body fiercely. The real killing move is always the most unpretentious. Dapu said lightly, without a trace of emotional fluctuations on his face. Indeed, the light and shadow effect of his sword technique in front is very strong, and the defense has been for a long time, according to inertia, who will reflect in time to defend against the killing moves hidden in the light and shadow of ordinary nothing. However, smoke instantly enveloped Makoto Uchiha. One-handed imprint again, to show its power. Avatar technique. Spiral pills. Makoto Uchiha, who appeared from behind Dapu, a rapidly forming ball of energy, slammed into his back. Secret technique sword return. Dapu withdrew the piercing action of leaning forward, and a large wave of chakra sword air flow turned into streamers with this retracting action, forming an iridescent sword light wall behind him. Rumble. The spiral pill slammed into this wall of sword light, emitting an ugly sound like scraping glass. The power of the spiral pill was exhausted, and the wall of sword light was still as brilliant as ever. Dapu slowly turned around, and the right hand holding the sword held the chakra output of the sword light wall, and the left hand quickly passed through the gradually blurred wall of light and pinched Uchiha Makoto's neck fiercely. Using a stand-in in front of the Sharingan? How big is the heart? Duh. A fatal grip. In an instant, Makoto Uchiha was like a leaky balloon, shriveled down, turned into a slowly burning detonation talisman, and was quietly caught in Dapu's hands. The pupil shrank slightly. Uchiha Dapu's expression changed for the first time. Rumble. The raging flames instantly engulfed Dapu. It's not very big, so it's just a ninja world. Therefore, it is easy not to die in such a small place. 10 meters away, after a puff of smoke, Makoto Uchiha, who was bleeding from his left shoulder, took shape. Speaking of which, the doppelganger left the detonation charm, and I also have to thank Yunin Foxy Rabbit Matsudaira and people for their contributions. In more distant corners where no one notices, a figure like pitcher plants, quietly observed on the ground. What a clever little Uchiha. Use the cover of the stand-in technique to hide. The shadow doppelganger, however, uses the transience technique to pretend to be a body to attack. Finally, a detonator attack is also left. As a result, even the old guy from Depu was fooled. By the way, the energy ball that has never been seen looks powerful. Ah, is this Xiao Yujibu's original ninjutsu? What a genius. A slightly surprised voice came from the pale-faced figure in the pitcher plant. Yes, a genius. And brother. And lovers you like. There is no one better suited than him to carry out the Moon Eye plan. No, it should be said that it was my plan. A shrill and annoying voice sounded in Baiju's heart, and half of his pale face was gradually infected with black. Itchy nasty guy again. Ever since he was created by Madara-sama using the Senju residence cell to awaken the Eye of Reincarnation and summon the golem of the outer path. This all-black guy wrapped himself up. He could even assimilate his body at any time, or he could hide it so deeply that he couldn't even detect it. The main thing is to hear him say that he is another great being who was created as early as ancient times, and Madara just awakened himself, and there was no need to be truly loyal to Madara. And under the constant reminder of this guy, he did gradually have some residual pictures of the ancient period. It was the era of the release of unlimited monthly reading, and this is how self-whiteness was produced. This also makes him have to hide his secret in front of Madara, the eccentric guy who calls himself Kuro. You're going to go on stage for all? Baiju asked. His body was still a little unaccustomed to the existence of the second person. Nope. It's not time yet. The black figure slowly disappeared into Baiju's body. I'm going to appear when Madara releases Yin and Yang and make him deeply mistaken. That is, his will. P.S. Thank you very much Don Huang for the 10 reminder tickets, and 1 or 2 changes for a few days in a row. I am ashamed of everyone, there is no reward, only to update. And better content. Regarding the arrangement of the current interaction between black and white, don't spray, I checked the information and wrote it in Baidu, it should be right. It's either black and white as soon as it's made. As for the original work, Heiju also took the opportunity to appear on the Yin and Yang that was released on Obito's body before Banleo's death. Of course, there is also a saying that Kagaya's will is black, and the will to kill Madara is black. Because it is said that people who can escape Yin and Yang can have a will. Episode 44. The flames that exploded in the field were gradually swept away by a brilliant sword light. At this time, Uchiha Dapu's left arm was completely blown up, and smoke and dust billowed on his body. But the sword in his hand became more and more brilliant, and the flowing chakra made the entire sword body as dazzling as the bright moon, full of danger. He really loves swords, and would rather his body be damaged than let the sword in his hand be dusted. There is no clear division of swords in the Hokage world, and the sword, the ninja sword, and the long sword can all be called swords. At this time, Ling Yin had already escaped from the trap, and the 3 of them no longer chose the Pinzi siege formation this time. This formation makes the single-sided offensive relatively weak, and the support is difficult, and it is easy to be broken by each in the face of a strong enemy. Instead, it forms a fan-shaped linkage array, which can be jointly attacked and retreated to coordinate the station. Plus, 2 shadow doppelgangers of Makoto Uchiha, ready to mend the knife at any time. Originally, the 3 shadow doppelgangers had just been eliminated, and therefore, Dapu's left hand was abolished. Vice Captain. At your age, it is better to leave Konoha with me with such wisdom and strength. My lord will definitely do his best to cultivate you, and within 5 years, you will definitely have the strength that the entire ninja world is interested in. Otherwise, it's a pity to die in this place. Without a genius who has grown up, it is nothing, Uchiha Dapu said expressionlessly, obviously broke a hand, seeing that the strength should be lost by half, but the opposite side was almost intact. The words he said were staggering, and those who didn't know thought that he was talking nonsense in empty words. But the momentum of its own agitation was even greater than before, and the whole person once again returned to the state of ancient wells without waves, and his figure could not be seen clearly in the bright moonlight. Only the 3-hooked jade chakra eye in his eyes was still dazzling, and only the long sword in his hand that was like a star and moon became brighter. Fart. Pigs and dogs are inferior, the Uchiha clan has never treated you badly, seeing that you are old and give you the idle position of the captain of the 1st district. The rich clan southeast of Konoha is the most comfortable and least turbulent area. But what did you do? You turned out to be a traitor. Before Makoto Uchiha could reply, Uchiha Yudo, who was a guard, opened his mouth and cursed. Just now, the young master was actually injured, although he was surprised that the young master himself could actually treat himself with palm cactus, but it was his dereliction of duty to let the young master get injured. I am ashamed of the cultivation of the family, I am ashamed of the importance of the patriarch, and I am ashamed of the trust of the young master. Me what me? An age lives on a dog. If your master is so strong, why are you so weak? Beat our 3 juniors, beat for so long without saying, and lost an arm. If I had committed suicide by seppuku long ago, lest you lose the face of your own master and increase the laughter of others. If you can cut yourself on the spot now, although the object of loyalty is wrong, Yudo still admits that you are a loyal old dog and will not lose the name of Uchiha. Uchiha Yudo's cannon-like mouth gushed endlessly, and he forced Depu's old face to turn red. Uchiha Suzune originally wanted to say 2 big words. Seeing that Yudo was like setting off firecrackers, he couldn't insert words for a long time. I have always kept my mouth open. I want to say and stop talking and want to say, and forget what to say. Young master, you go back to seek support first. Ayujibwe Yudo, even if I die, I will also cut off the right hand of this old thing and make him a personal stick. No, I won't give up on you, it's enough for the 3 of us to clean him up. Makoto Uchiha said, unlocking the sealing scroll, and the dense ninja tools were revealed, and each ninja tool was even tied to the detonation charm. Ling Yin's eyes straightened when he looked at the side, and the deputy team was so rich. That's right, is this burning a detonator? It's money that burns. If you don't want to leave, then stay with them all. Let you also see the real strength of this old thing of mine. In Konoha, my sword art was only lost to 1 person. And this move is the strongest move I have created in decades in order to impact the shadow level. Use it for the 2nd time in this life. Uchiha Dapu's sword pointed straight at the sky, and the moon with a radius of hundreds of meters was all attracted, as if the entire heaven and earth were dark. The chakra of the whole person's body was dragged to the tip of the sword, like a stream of water, causing the surrounding space to fluctuate, rising from the soles of the feet to the palm of the head, forming an elliptical chakra flow trajectory, all injected into the entire bright sword body. Oops, what's this trick? This old guy is desperate, let's withdraw away. Baiju said with a solemn face, and then cast the ephemera technique, and his body instantly merged into the earth, moving backwards as easily and quickly as if in water. Yudo and Suzune, the sneak attack that had just taken the opportunity, could not break through this oval cover. It should be that the attack strength is not enough, this time attack together. Makoto Uchiha reminded. Then the hands turned into afterimages, and countless kunai shurikens were thrown out, and then layers of collisions continued to occur in the air. Form a large net that covers the sky. Relying on the ninja world's first shuriken throwing technique, a new move created, 9 heavens and earth. The heaven and earth network composed of a sea of 9 layers of dark weapons and detonation charms was centered on Dapu, covering the surrounding 100-meter range. Fire dragon bomb. Shadow doppelganger. Water escape, water rush. Bell tone. Fire, the art of dragon fire. Yuto. Feng dun, big breakthrough. Shadow doppelganger. The combination of 3 attributes, ninjutsu, the violent energy stimulated, swept towards Uchiha Dapu like a flood. What is ninja peak shadow? Uchiha Deepa sought his whole life, and no one could tell him. The master who followed, the man who had a long-lasting battle with the ninja god in the Valley of the End, once said, Shadow? When the entire ninja world fears you, you are the shadow. Konoha White Fang, who had always pressed his own head on kendo, replied in that undisclosed decisive battle, I didn't want to be a Hokage, but when my sword wants to protect someone, even if it is 5 shadows, I have nothing to fear. What is shadow? Countless lower forbearances have endured and endured, but they have only achieved a few shadow-level powerhouses. Perhaps their strength is not only in strength. Stronger in state of mind. In a short moment, Uchiha Dapu's thoughts flashed, and his eyes became brighter and brighter. The brilliance dragged by the tip of the sword had already covered the moonlight in the sky, emitting a dazzling light. Wai, Mirage Moonwheel. The tip of the sword was like holding up a moon and fell fiercely forward. Last time, I lost to Konoha White Fang. This time, win. No one can stop it. Faintly, all the people and things around them were ingested into that light. Airplanes. The light exploded instantly, and a circle of light waves. Rumble. The 9 heavens and earth net was directly detonated in the air. The explosion of light waves and detonators is worn out layer by layer. The combined ninjutsu of the 3 attributes wrestled against each other in front of the wave of light, and was subsequently crushed and engulfed. The entire hillside was slowly cut away by layers of light waves, and the herds of cattle in the nearby cattle pen turned into powder. Boom. The huge sound and vibration completely woke up Konoha, which had just fallen silent in the distance. Episode 45, Tuduan, Tolyu City Wall. Water escape, water array wall. Fire, how fireball. Faced with this unrivaled blow, everyone evacuated the hillside. It's just that the speed can't keep up with the erosion speed of the light wave. I had to run while performing defensive ninjutsu or attack ninjutsu to kill the waves of light. When they finally arrived at the foot of the hillside, at the edge of the area, the three of them were quickly engulfed by the wave of light. At this time, the entire hillside no longer exists, but there is still a scene before the big move battle on it. In the smoke and dust, on the hillside, the crowd and the cattle still stood quietly. It's like a mirage. What's going on? We are not dead? The three of them originally thought that if they were hit by that terrifying wave of light, they would definitely turn into powder. Unexpectedly, but it didn't hurt a little. Could it be that the old thing's chakra is exhausted, and what is behind this is just an illusion of light and shadow effects? That's right. If I had been able to perform this trick when I was young, you would all turn into dust in an instant. Uchiha Dapu's voice sounded, and a figure gradually walked out from the huge smoke. At this time, he had no other injuries except for his lost left arm, but the sword in his hand no longer had any light, and the whole person looked 10 years old, shaky, and the chakra eye was closed again. It's just that the whole person's momentum is more sufficient, and the eyes that should be cloudy and dull are getting brighter. At this time, no one dared to think that he would run out of oil. I only feel that he is back to basics, and the pearl goes to Chin. I actually stepped into this realm at the last moment of my life. There is no regret in this life and death. However, before you die, it should not be difficult to kill you. Uchiha Yudo immediately jumped out. Old dog. Stop bluffing. Can you still wield a sword? Come and come, Uncle Uchiha Yudo will meet you. Depu stared at Yudo and smiled slightly. That's it. That's it. The sword in his hand, which had no brilliance, slowly lifted. Yuto dodged quickly. Makoto Uchiha's whole body is surrounded by electricity. The eyes of the second hook jade riding wheel rotated rapidly, and gradually separated the third hook jade. Secret skill, Shadow Slash. Shuei Dun, Water Array. Uchiha Madara. Burst. The sword technique, which was faster than the shadow, instantly crossed a distance of 10 meters, and before the water could be sent, it had already penetrated Uchiha Yudo's chest. It's just that because of Uchiha Makoto's broken drink, he was slightly stunned and avoided the point. At this time, the afterimage of Uchiha Dapu in place can hardly be seen. Dapu looked sideways at Uchiha Makoto in surprise. You actually know. Old man. I'm not dead yet. Uchiha Yudo interrupted Dapu's questioning, his hands firmly grasping his body. Young Master Ching, Ling Yin. Attack me. Fast, find death. You think you can hold me back? Dapu said angrily. Buzz. Suddenly, a violent pillar of lightning instantly penetrated the bodies of Uchiha Yudo and Uchiha Dapu. Lay done, thousand birds sharp gun. Uchiha Dapu looked at the thunder light that penetrated his heart in shock. I don't understand why Makoto Uchiha was so decisive. Without the slightest consideration, he strung his loyal subordinates to death with this dying man. Suddenly, he saw Makoto Uchiha quickly flash to Yudo's side, his hands glowing with a strong green glow representing life. Palm Cactus. The Chidori sharp gun is passed through from Yudo's reserve, and Dapu is opposed to Yudo. So the damage caused actually penetrated Yudo's right chest, but Dapu is indeed the left chest where the more deadly heart is located. Dapu looked stunned, the light in his eyes gradually faded, but a smile slowly appeared at the corner of his mouth. Very good Xiaoyu Jibua, you are the best candidate to inherit his will. Soon he will appear in front of you. Makoto Uchiha ignored Dapu's last words. It is indeed troublesome to be targeted, and what is even more troublesome is that he may make the whole set of soil on himself, but this is all for later. The most important thing at the moment is to save Yudo's life. The green light in the palm of his hand became stronger and stronger, and it was particularly conspicuous on this devastated earth. Uchiha Suzune, while anxiously waiting for the results, carefully looked around. What a great fight. This Xiaoyu Jibua will be the best executor of the future Moon Eye plan. Hey, Uchiha Dapu is actually quite good. In order to test Xiaoyu Jibua's strength, he actually sacrificed his life. Yes, just like that loyal Yudo, Dapu is also loyal, but the object of allegiance is different. And he didn't really want to kill these little guys. It seems that he has lived here for too long, and he is still full of feelings for Konoha Uchiha. If he didn't want to show up, he actually started using a doppelganger to disguise himself as someone else to come and kill his subordinate Kensho Uehara. It was recognized, and the doppelganger was destroyed and could not find out who it was. It's a pity that in order for us to collect the true strength of Makoto Uchiha in advance. Okay, let's go. Kensho Uehara, we helped mend the knife, and now no one in Konoha knows about the existence of Madara. What about these three? Kill two and take Makoto Uchiha away? Nope. It's not time yet. There is no kaleidoscope of how to deal with the powerhouses of the 5 great ninja villages. Let him open a kaleidoscope while cutting off the bonds on the entire Konoha is the best time to take him away. Also, the people of Konoha are here. Hey Jew, you are so insidious, I am still not used to living with such a sinister guy living on my body. At this time, two ninjas wearing strange masks with black patterns and white backgrounds jumped into the eyes of Uchiha Suzun and others. Different from the mask style in the dark part of Konoha. This? Again a member of the Root organization? The light in Makoto Uchiha's hands is great, solve them. Uchiha Suzun nodded, pulled out two kunai, and blocked Uchiha Makoto's figure. Death fight. Episode 46, huh? It's the abominable Uchiha. And there was a fierce fight? A godsend. You go back and report the letter, and I spy on them. Okay. The two members of Root completed the communication in an instant, just wanted to separate as planned. Uchiha Suzun pounced with one of his own shadow doppelgangers, preventing them from going back and their way forward. You guys, don't go anywhere. Uchiha, don't fool people too much, you guys made such a big move here, you don't know what shady things you have done, and you don't have much chakra, do you? Really think you can keep us? Ding. Facing the Root members who rushed to the battlefield so quickly, you felt that something was wrong. Please select A. The well water does not violate the river water, as long as it does not provoke themselves, they can do whatever they want. Reward, B-level ninjutsu 1. B. Punch 2 Root members to deepen their impression of Uchiha. Reward, Lei Dun Chidori Chiban. C. Kill these 2 Root members. Reward, Daiyu Spiral Pill, plus information on the human experiment base in the nearby Tuanzang. So it is, no wonder these two guys came so quickly. At this time, the light of palm cactus is in full bloom. Yudo, hold on, don't die. Makoto Uchiha suddenly shouted sadly. The other side has someone who is trying his best to rescue the wounded, and these 2 people can be solved first. The 2 Root members made eye contact and changed their plans in an instant. At the same time, he used the doppelganger technique and turned into 4 figures and ran towards Uchiha Makoto at full speed. Presumptuous. Water escape, water rush. The kuwu in Uchiha Suzun's hand was directly thrown at one of the figures, and then released the water done with the shadow doppelganger, wanting to leave them all behind. Tuduan, earth flow wall. Tuduan, Huangquan marsh. The opponent also hurriedly used the most suitable ninjutsu at this time, dragging the bell tone and creating opportunities for his teammates. Sure enough, the soil flow wall had an excellent effect on Shui Duan, completely blocking Shui Duan's attack. Suzun was also dragged down by the other party's ninjutsu that changed the terrain, Huangsanuma. A figure did not slow down and continued to run towards Makoto Uchiha. Abominable. You guys are looking for death. True electric light flashed from Suzun's right hand. Then 100, 200. A sight of 1,000 birds chirping in unison appeared. Thunder Chidori. The rapid flash of electric light, easily tearing through the wall of the earth flow. Plunge into the chest of the ninja who stayed behind. At this time, another Root member who was already close to Makoto Uchiha, under the mask, his bloodthirsty eyes glowed with Dao excitement. Oh, 2. Let's die together. Silently shouted in his heart. The hand is not vague, and the seal is fast. Fengdun, 1,000 faces. Suddenly, a ray of thunder shot out from the hand of the Uchiha imp who was shining green, directly through the chest of the Root ninja who was holding the victory. Nanny? You. It's been treated a long time ago, just waiting for you to come. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the ninja technique, Daidama Spiral Pill. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the location information of the illegal human experiment base of Tuanzang. Vice Captain, is Yudo alright? Ling Yin solved the opponent and came back as soon as possible to inquire about the situation. At this time, Ling Yin was already panting, obviously energetic, and chakra had consumed 7788. After the wound is treated, it should be fine, just wait for him to wake up naturally. Phew. Lucky. Ling Yin let out a long breath, and the little hand cutely patted the small fierce body that was quite large. Why didn't I find out before? This grinning little kneesy is so material. At this moment, a large number of figures quickly approached. Vice Captain, are you alright? A team of the Konoha garrison of the Uchiha clan. Makoto-sama, what's going on here? Team 1 is the Dark Department directly under the Hokage. At this time, they were greeted by ruined pastures, small hillsides that had been cut off, potholes everywhere, and traces of battles. What a fierce battle it takes to fight like this. And Makoto Uchiha is actually safe and sound. Ding. In the face of an inquiry from Konoha, please select A. Clarify the facts. Rewards, 5 attribute chakra and master nature changes. B. Clarify that a traitor has appeared in Uchiha, which is purging the traitor, and thank the 2 Root members for their support. Reward, S-Class Ninjutsu Thunder, Ratchet. C. Throw out the secret base of the regiment, lead the disaster to the east, and rake it backwards. Rewards, Rachel +5 attribute chakra and its nature changes. If you can bring trouble to Tuanzong and fold a few layers of black pots for him, don't reward me for doing it. I choose C. Episode 47. We originally followed the drink shop Uncle Shota Maruyama to the ranch to buy some milk. As a result, suspicious elements were discovered, so I secretly tracked them down and found that they were conducting cruel human experiments. In order not to startle the snakes, we are ready to return to Konoha and look for reinforcements. As a result, we were accidentally discovered, so they surrounded and killed us all the way. When I got around this ranch, I finally couldn't leave, so I had to fight them to the death. Pity me on the elder of the Konoha garrison, the leader of the 1st District Squad, Uchiha Daipu. In order to cover our retreat, burning their lives crushed more than 10 of them in one fell swoop, otherwise when you see us, there will only be a few corpses left, and these people are very similar to the root members of the regiment who attacked us last time. Uchiha said sincerely, and everyone who listened pinched a sweat for them. Didn't they see that the entire ranch here was bulldozed? And the loud noise caused by the battle can be heard even by Konoha. You can imagine how fierce the battle was at that time. Even the veteran of Uchiha was killed, but it is a pity that the dozen or so people killed by his burning life turned into dust like this small hillside, otherwise some way should be traced from the corpse. Fortunately, aren't there still 2 corpses left here? Of course, the most important thing is to quickly track down the opponent's secret base in case the target is shifted. The leader of the dark department this time, Sarutobi Daisuke, looked at the mask with blue stripes on a white background on the 2 corpses on the ground, and chuckled mentally. This? It seems to be really the root organization of Tuanzo, although it is different from the previous mask style, but it is still a little similar. Then, can Makoto-sama send someone to take us to track down the secret base for human experiments, in case these rats escape? Sarutobi Daisuke said respectfully. Let's go too. The captain of the 1st District Squad died, the vice captain they were injured, and we Uchiha have never suffered such a big loss. Uchiha support, Uchiha Hirajiya, the leader of the 3rd District of the Konoha garrison, said fiercely. No problem, I'll take you personally. Uchiha Dappu can't die in vain, you must kill them all, and leave no one behind. Makoto Uchiha nodded. Uchiha Suzune, stunned when he heard it on the side. Uchiha Dappu is not a big spy, was he killed by us? What does the vice captain want to do? And do you really want to take them to find a secret base that is out of nowhere? However, after seeing the eyes cast by the vice captain, he immediately concealed his expression with amusement. Then leave the 2 of you here, clean the battlefield, and take care of the corpses. The rest of the people come with me to sweep up the secret base, Sarutobi Daisuke said loudly. Yes. More than 20 dark forces followed Uchiha's pace together. Makoto Uchiha asked the guards to carry him on his back and go to the secret base together, and he and Suzune must be in his line of sight. Then dozens of people instantly shuttled into the woods and rushed to the southeast, the secret base location provided by the system. It ran a distance of more than 7,000 meters. Small hills come into view. This is it, their entrance is well hidden. It is recommended to plow this place with ninjutsu. Good. Immediately, all kinds of fires flew up, and then the water extinguished the flames. On an inconspicuous mountain wall, a stone gate hidden by vines was found. Up. Rumble. Slam open the door. The dark part uses various doppelgangers to be the first to enter. Who? Without a warrant, those who trespass into the secret realm die. There was a roar of anger inside. Then came the sound of various ninjutsu and the exchange of weapons. Everyone left 1/3 of the men and horses to guard outside the stone gate, and the rest all entered the secret base. At this time, Uchiha Suzune's inner shock was incomparable. What the hell? Is there really a secret base? And there are really enemies in it? Could it be that I fought with Uchiha Dappu for so long before, but I actually fell into a big illusion? What the vice captain said is the truth. With a huge disparity in strength, the battle ended quickly. A total of 8 people were won. It is a pity that these people, once they lost their combat effectiveness and noticed the signs of being captured, they immediately bit the poison pill in their mouths and decisively committed suicide. Sarutobi Daisuke looked gloomy, which was indeed very similar to the style of the root organization. Others may not be familiar with the dark side of Konoha, but he is familiar as a dark part. After all, Gen is also a secret organization that trains the dark department, but only obeys the orders of Tuanzang. And root has always been hidden in the shadows, except for a few large families like Uchiha, Senju, Hinata. Other ordinary small families hardly know that Konoha has such a secret organization. This secret base hollows out the entire mountain, and the inside is abnormally wide, and various precision instruments are placed in the hall. In the transparent culture tanks, there were human corpses. In a small room deep in the hall, a group of refugees was imprisoned. From the conversation, it was determined that none of these refugees were Konoha's people, and they should have been captured from elsewhere. I didn't expect that human experiments were actually being carried out here. No, this matter must be reported to the Hokage immediately, and let the Hinata-sama decide. P.S. In the original work, the 3 generations of Hokage and Danzo conducted experiments together for a period of time in order to study resident cells. Later, due to the huge consumption, the lack of results, and other untellable reasons, he was banned by the 3 generations of Hokage. But Tuanzong has been hiding that the 3 generations continue to experiment and conduct live experiments, and later cooperate with the Big Snake Pill. In the end, a successful example was born, Muda Yamato. Episode 48. Early the next morning, Shimura Danzo, who had something to do outside, received a message from the Dark Department and his own route personnel, and hurried back to the village overnight. Walking on the streets of Konoha, there were obviously more early risers than usual. What happened last night? Did you hear that? Suddenly there was a roar. My mother frightened me and fell out of bed. I heard it too, and it seemed to be accompanied by a slight earthquake, and I ran out of the house naked. You know, I like to sleep. When the birds came out, that shame, the heart to kill. You sleepers don't know. I saw the end of the southeast direction of Konoha. It was daylight, and it was estimated that those ninja adults were fighting again. A word of small talk came into Tuanzang's ears. Suddenly, a dark weapon struck Tuanzang from the crowd on the street, and keenly turned out that it had been unblocked. Syllable. The incoming dark weapon was split in 2. Snap. The castration fell on Tuanzang's face unabated, and suddenly it was yellow and white, and a fishy smell came. It's a raw egg. I'm special. Catch Little Red Riding Hood's big bad wolf. Smash you. An urchin on the street waved his arm and shouted, then turned around and went to pick up the vegetable basket next to his mother, who was buying vegetables. Half a basket of eggs inside. Tuanzang had a gloomy face, and his eyes glowed bloodthirsty. The woman heard the child's cry, looked back, was immediately startled, quickly hugged the child, and apologized to Tuanzo. I'm sorry, this gentleman, the child recognized the wrong person, I'll help you wipe it clean. Mom, don't go over, he is the big bad wolf, he can eat people, and Little Red Riding Hood was eaten by him. The crowd on the street found that there was a bustle to see, and they all came up, and then a few children screamed, really, it's really a one-eyed big bad wolf, run wow. Tuanzang looked confused, I don't know why, I saw more people, it was difficult to calculate with a child. Quickly wiped his face with both hands and threw down a sentence, take good care of your children. Then he strode out of place. Faintly audible, this person really looks like the big bad wolf in a fairy tale book. Yes, looking at those fierce eyes, I was scared, as if I was going to eat people. Well, there is also a story called Tuanzang Good Snake, he seems to be called Tuanzang? The description looks exactly like him, and it is said that he likes to play with snakes. Gee, it's scary enough to look at this interest. Well, don't say it like it's real, it's just a fairy tale book, maybe this person deliberately dressed up like this. Fairy tale books? Is there really some bastard who wrote my image into the book? Later, let people investigate, and if they find it, they will take it by 1,000 cuts. One of the symbols of Konoha, Hokage House, Hokage Office. Sarutobi looked at the dead Uchiha Daipu and a row of corpses suspected of being members of the root organization, and felt a faint pain in his head. How did these 2 guys get frightened? Seeing that the entire ninja world has been peaceful for too long, the power of the villages has swelled, constantly expanding outward, and it has begun to become more and more chaotic. Do you want to mess up your own village first? Naruto-sama, you must give an explanation for this. Our elder Uchiha Daipu, since the second Hokage, founded the Konoha garrison. He has been working diligently in the garrison, making so many contributions to Konoha's shelter from the wind and rain, and now he has died tragically at the hands of his own people. It's chilling. Uchiha Jinyan sighed. Makoto Uchiha, as the first witness, stood obediently by the side. As for Suzune, and Yuto who woke up. I passed gas with them overnight. Unless the people of the mountain clan come to forcibly destroy their brains and search for memories, don't want to know the real cause of Dapu's death. And Patriarch Uchiha Jinyan will let foreigners do this? Moreover, it is they who are justified at the moment. Wait a little for Tuanzang to come, I believe he will not do this kind of thing, there should be some misunderstanding. Of course, if it is really his people who do it, they will be severely punished. Explanation, what explanation? Only one of you died, but Tuanzo died 10 people. However, Tuanzang actually concealed that I was still engaged in these studies, and it was indeed about to knock on it. It didn't take long for Danzo, who had slightly sorted out his image, to walk into the Hokage's office. Although he had received news from his own people, when he saw a row of 10 subordinates who had been loyal to him, now turned into cold corpses. The face that was thrown over the rotten egg obviously became more smelly. Uchiha Makoto observed the words, saw Danzo coming, and immediately mended the knife. This Danzo-sama? You should know them, right? Tuanzang just wanted to say that he knew each other, but he immediately realized that the secret base near his ranch had been exposed and completely destroyed. There's something shady in there. It cannot be admitted to the face, lest they find excuses to strike again. As for what they think behind their backs, that's their business. I see that these people are a little familiar. It turns out that their masks imitate the masks used by my subordinates. What happened to these people? Did they do something to blame me? Tuanzong shook his head and said with a gloomy face. My heart still hurts. My research base, that's a lot of manpower and material resources it consumes, although it's not the largest base. What planting? These people are your subordinates, and they even commit suicide in exactly the same way after being captured. Makoto Uchiha again, this little bastard? Together with the last time I engaged in a large amount of Konoha's industry, how many things have I lost? Even if I kill you 10 times, it is not enough to compensate me for my losses. Adults talk, children interrupt. Wind escape, vacuum dio. The more he thought about it, the angrier Tuanzong finally stopped paying attention to what place this was, and just wanted to kill this hateful brat on the spot. After taking a deep breath, he suddenly spat out a powerful air cannon from his mouth. Diadema spiral pill. Makoto Uchiha, who had been on guard for a long time, raised his hand and fired a big jade spiral pill that had just been rewarded last night. Rumble. The powerful wind pressure and energy fluctuations completely swept the entire top floor of the Hokage Tower. Shimura Danzo. Are you looking for death? Uchiha Kaien saw his son attacked. Suddenly, his eyes were red, and the whole person was furious, and he instantly stepped forward and pulled Makoto Uchiha into the air together, and then, Huadu, Hao Yenhua. 3 large fireballs like meteorites erupted from Uchiha Jinyan's mouth, instantly hitting the Hokage building where the group was located. Bang! Suddenly, the entire Hokage building exploded into a sea of fire. The ape flying sun slash who left the scene with the teleportation technique looked at the Hokage building that had turned into a sea of fire. A colic in the psyche. Changing hands is a psychic spell, summon the ape demon. Psychic change, golden steel Rui stick. You guys. Did you put me in the eyes of the Hokage? The powerful momentum that belongs to the 3 generations of Hokage shinobi swept the audience. The King Kong Rui stick immediately turned into the Optimus Prime. Slammed into Shimura Danzo and Uchiha Kaien, who were fighting. Boom. The Hokage building has completely turned into powder. Episode 49. Under the bombardment of the angry ape flying sun, the two sides quickly calmed down. Danzo was then ordered to go on a mission to the Land of Rain and was not allowed to return to Konoha for 2 years. Makoto Uchiha was ordered to be confined to Uchiha clan lands and not allowed to leave for a year. The incident of this night battle is investigated by the Direct Shadow Department of Hokage. Of course, the time for the results is estimated to be postponed indefinitely. Uchiha and Tuanzong and the others dispersed unhappily. Before Tuanzong left, he said coldly in front of the ape flying sun, that little Uchiha was forced out of a new ninjutsu by me just now, and with such talent, he will definitely become the second Uchiha spot in the future. Your indecisive nature will sooner or later suffer the consequences of your own evil. Think about it, as a second-generation disciple, if Konoha is lost from you, then what face will you have to see the Hokage of the previous generations? Humph. Tuanzong flicked his sleeves and left. Obviously, the expression of sudden rage in the Hokage building just now was mostly pretended. One is that he really wants to take the opportunity to kill Makoto Uchiha. But in front of Hokage, this possibility is almost zero. Therefore, the name of the attack and killing is actually a temptation, so that Ape Flying Sun Chopper is more aware of Uchiha Makoto's strength. Sarutobi Hinata stood on the ruins of the former Hokage Tower, thinking of the letter from Hanzo, who had just become known as a demigod in the ninja world, and wanted to gain Konoha's support and become the 6th largest ninja village in the ninja world. On the side of the bed, how can others be allowed to sleep? Nowadays, accidents occur frequently within the wood industry. In the prime of life, the bold and spirited ape flew to the sun, and for the first time felt a little tired. For the rise of various small families such as Sarutobi, Shimura, Mitarai, etc., for the sake of Konoha civilians to take the stage, let Konoha really grow, suppress the Hao clan, and accept commoners as disciples, such as Orochimaru, Jiraiya. He has done too much, too much. Even Konoha's most famous and influential Senju clan had been secretly cut by half by him. Now I really can't afford to engage in Uchiha anymore, unless I wait a few more years, when I completely uproot the 1,000 hands. Creating multiple wounds is far less than breaking a person's arm. Danzo. Your vision is as narrow as your size, that's why you can never be a Hokage. Looking at the symbol of Konoha in the distance, the inheritance of Konoha, Hokage Rock. Oh, what face is there to meet the Hokage of the past? It is estimated that when there is a chance to meet on the Huangquan Road, the first generation of the second generation is to kill themselves. At this time, Konoha White Fang, who had been hiding in the shadows and determined that after Danzo and Uchiha left, returned to Sarutobi Hinata. Makoto Uchiha is so talented. You say, will he become the second Uchiha spot? The three generations of Hokage looked at the Hokage rock, which carved his own human head and the head of the first generation and the second generation in the distance, and his eyes were deep. No matter what he ends up in, as long as he wants to hurt Konoha, the blade in my hand will cut off his thoughts. Shuamao did not answer positively, but his tone revealed strong confidence. What's more, there is Naruto-sama here. 2. Sarutobi nodded. You said that I asked Orochimaru to accept him as a disciple and let him form a class with the graduates of the ninja school? Hokage is wise, this can increase his sense of belonging, and the bond between him and his partner. After all, he is still a child. It can also reflect your overtures of favor to Uchiha, which can slightly ease the contradiction. Then, when he is grounded, arrange for him. Ape Fairy smiled and brushed his black beard. In fact, there is another reason. If it feels that this person is really uncontrollable, then let the big snake pill take him to the front line. When the master and apprentice go into battle, others will not have much reason to stop it. If there is another accident, Uchiha's hatred will first be concentrated on Orochimaru. With the effort to develop you into a powerful ninja, it's time to share your worries with master. A year later, the Uchiha tribe range. On the edge of a clear lake, a young man stood quietly, and the shiny ninja knife in his hand pointed flat to the surface of the lake, and the blade's surface emitted a burst of breathtaking light. Suddenly, an identical figure rushed forward, holding a constantly rotating energy ball in his hand, and smashed it towards the teenager fiercely. Spiral pills. Sword back. A psychedelic wall of light appeared behind the boy, blocking the erosion of the spiral pill. Then the teenager turned around. True 3 days and moon dance. In an instant, 3 figures accompanied by 3 sharp sword rays completely cut off the shadow doppelganger in front of him. For a year, being grounded in the Uchiha clan, Makoto Uchiha has grown another wave of height in addition to eating and drinking. It is to continue to create new skills from the skills mastered, such as Lei Dun Chidori Senbon. And the sword skills learned from Uchiha Daipu. Of course, it is not as fast as the system reward, resulting in a faster increase in strength. That Daipu's strongest move, the Mirage Moonwheel. He still hasn't learned it. After all, the sword skills and illusion skills required are too high. Every time he thinks back to the thrilling battle at that time, Makoto Uchiha can realize something from the clear memory picture. It seems that there is a faint feeling that Uchiha Daipu did not want their lives, but on the contrary, he put each move very clearly, indirectly feeding them and teaching them generally. Maybe he really didn't betray Uchiha? No matter what, Uchiha gave him a funeral with a beautiful scenery. After all, he was a traitor in Uchiha, and Makoto Uchiha did not tell the people in the clan. It would only cause unnecessary turmoil, and it would be easy for the 3 generations of Hokage to detect. Brother Chung. A crisp and soft voice sounded. Makoto Uchiha trotted over, holding in her hand the sweets that changed every time, and Konoha's forehead protector. Hee, brother Makoto. Look, I'm a ninja too. In the future, I can fight side by side with brother Makoto. You? It's far from it. Have we graduated this class? Unknowingly, it has been 2 years since I graduated early, and the same class has also been promoted from the 4th grade to the 6th year of the graduating class, and graduated this year. Well, I miss those cute friends. Oh, I haven't bullied them for so long, I don't know if they think of themselves. Yes. All graduated together, and the graduates of these batches have far exceeded those of previous years. It is said that he was forced out by your high pressure from brother Chung, and Woofing Shuemen is so strong, he defeated the 2 Hyuga brothers as a civilian. And graduated with perfect marks in all subjects. Become the second ninja to graduate with a perfect score after Orochimaru-sama. It is said that in order to motivate such an excellent civilian, Hokage specially made him choose a forbidden art as a reward. Brother Makoto, today is still Konoha's 30th anniversary celebration. It's very lively. It's a pity that you didn't go out to play. Kusina yelled for you to look good, but halfway through the play, she was recalled by Grandma Mito. Watergate's forbidden technique? It won't be flying Thor, right? It shouldn't be that fast, and even if it were, it wasn't something he could learn in just a few years with his current amount of knowledge. Otherwise, in the original work, he should have made a name for himself in World War II. Jioshinai was urgently recalled. Is this the 9 tails about to replace the human pillar force? Another elder of Senju, left. The wheel of history has finally moved forward by a great margin. By the lake, 2 young girls eat snacks while telling interesting stories in Konoha, which has become a daily scenery. Of course, most of it was Makoto who was talking, and Makoto Uchiha was listening. Episode 50. The next day, a year-long retreat practice lasted. Makoto Uchiha was finally allowed to lift the lockdown. Dark then sent a message asking Makoto Uchiha to go to Hokage's office. Came to the rebuilt Hokage building, entered the Hokage office, and looked at the 3 generations of Hokage who were smiling in front of him. Makoto Uchiha always had the feeling of facing Grandma Wolf. I called you here today to thank you for your talent, and it is rare that another powerful genius ninja has appeared in our Konoha. It can't be buried gradually, it should completely unleash your huge potential. Although your Uchiha's own cultivation is also good. But in recent years there have been few particularly prominent figures, and my disciple Orochimaru, Konoha's recognized super genius, graduated with a full score in ninja school since he was a child. What do you think of having him your teacher? Of course, I've already passed the gas with your father, Patriarch Uchiha. He also said that he would be happy, but he still wants to ask for your opinion, Ape Fairy said with a smile. Asking you is just a formality. Such a great opportunity, will you turn it down? Can you refuse? Ding, in the face of the indirect solicitation of suspected 3 generations of Hokage, please choose. A. Accept, become a disciple of the Great Snake Pill, reward, psychic. Psychic snakes. B. If you refuse, you will eventually become a White Fan disciple. Rewards, Sword Mastery plus YE, Mirage Moonwheel. C. Refuse, lead a graduating class yourself. Reward, Super High Level Defense Ninjutsu, Triple Rashomon. Makoto Uchiha looked at the information suddenly prompted by the system, and in an instant, the scene of Orochimaru, Konoha White Fang, leading a graduating class passed through in his mind. Can you refuse? Orochimaru-sama wants to get the key? What does it mean that the sound of caution came into the ears of the ape flying sun? Is this to refuse? The 3 generations, who did not understand cold humor, suddenly froze with a smile on their faces. I feel. The big snake pill is not much stronger than me. As if he had made up his mind, the voice of certainty once again penetrated the ears of the ape flying sun. Clams? My disciple is not much better than you, little devil? Although you have awakened the Sharingan at a young age. Although you have created several new ninjutsu in a row. Although you now have the strength of Sharingan. Maz, is it so strong? This. Can the big snake pill be suppressed? Heart, suddenly so tired. Damn Uchiha. But. The strength of upper patience, the upper and lower limits are also very different, and the elite upper patience is far from being comparable to ordinary upper patience. Let the big snake pill teach this kid who doesn't know the height of the sky and the thick of the earth. Pass. Orochimaru came to the Hokage office. Sarutobi knocked on the table with a gloomy face. Yes. A dark part suddenly turned into smoke and disappeared. After a while, Orochimaru came to the Hokage's office. The moment he stepped into the room, the temperature in the entire room seemed to drop by several degrees. Orochimaru's icy eyes swept the scene in the house, especially on Makoto Uchiha, for 3 seconds. Then staring at the 3 generations of Hokage, a unique hoarse voice sounded, "Old man, what's the matter with looking for me?" Well, Makoto Uchiha's strength has grown by leaps and bounds recently. I want you to evaluate him in actual combat, and if it is really good, he will be promoted to Sharingan. I don't want to be a disciple, and I think I am strong, then I don't care about your age, and I am ready to come out and carry the beam. Interesting little Uchiha, has the strength reached this level, so don't talk nonsense, let's start now. Orochimaru licked his lips excitedly. Slow down. Everyone moved to Konoha No. 1 training ground. Ape Flying Sun looked at his Hokage building, which had just been built for less than a year, and felt concern. Konoha No. 1 training ground. Makoto Uchiha stood opposite to the Great Snake Pill, and passed the seal of opposition. Please advise. Salute before soldier. After Uchiha Makoto finished speaking, without any hesitation, he directly used the multiple shadow doppelganger technique, and divided 3 shadow doppelgangers and rushed towards the big snake pill. Orochimaru calmly threw out a shuriken, and at the same time clasped his hands together, and drank coldly. Shuriken Shadow Doppelganger Art. Unlike the C-class Kage Shuriken that came out of the ninja school wave Feng Shui Men, only one is real. And this Shuriken Shadow Avatar Art is an A-level ninjutsu, all entities, and each shuriken has extremely strong lethality. It is the ultra-difficult ninjutsu created by the 3rd generation Hokage, inspired by the Shadow Avatar developed by the 2nd generation Hokage. Use chakra to stack the number of shurikens to form a sword array of heaven and earth. The shuriken that suddenly flew in the air suddenly became a trance, turned into 2 afterimages, and then turned into 4, 6, 8, 16. In the blink of an eye, the shuriken that filled the sky, with the sound of the fierce wind, swept towards Uchiha Makoto like a violent storm.